Hello, this is Mr. Chabry, and we are here with another narrated Pokemon battle. So this is going to be an Uber match against the Amazing Mo. And the Amazing Mo is someone that we've battled before in the past. He loves doing the Uber tier, so we're going to go ahead and do that. My opponent's going to lead off with Arceus right off the bat, as I actually lead off with Yveltal. The good thing about this Yveltal, though, is it has Taunt. And what I'd like to do is taunt this because I know a lot of Arceuses have Swords Dance. They'll set up a substitute and boost up and then go for extreme speed. So we're going to go ahead and do that, as this one ends up being a Stealth Rocker Arceus, which is pretty cool, I guess. Most of the ones I see are Extreme Killer, is what they're called, I think. We're going to see a switch into Xerneas, and of course, Xerneas often has the Power Herb, so that way it can go ahead and boost up. So I'm going to go ahead and knock off here. That actually takes care of the Arceus if it happened to stay in, which we see that this has a Choice Scarf, so it's not going to be a set that has to boost up. It's meant to just jump in and do as much damage right off the bat as it can. So I'm going to go into my Groudon here. Groudon should be able to take anything that Xerneas goes for. Of course, we're going to get that Desolate Land going and get the sun out and shining, as we're going to see a switch from the Xerneas, and my opponent's going to go into the Zygarde. So Zygarde, honestly, looking at my opponent's team, is pretty threatening, especially if it happens to get the Power Construct and becomes 100% Zygarde. 100% Zygarde's pretty bulky and it hits pretty hard. What I want to do here is actually burn it, because most of the time they are physical attackers. So I'm going to go ahead and try to burn it. However, we don't get the burn, and Groudon's going to be Toxic Poison. So unfortunately for us, we're actually at a disadvantage right now. We're going to see a switch, and the Arceus is going to make a reappearance here. Of course, I'm going to go for another Lava Plume. I really wanted that burn, however, we're not going to get that burn. We do get the burn on Arceus, though, which, honestly, I don't know how well that does for us. We're going to see the Lumberry, though, but I guess that works out for my opponent. That Lumberry preventing that burn. I don't know if this is going to be... I'm pretty sure this might be a physical set, maybe? I don't know exactly what this Arceus set is. I'm going to go into Marshadow, predicting my opponent to go for those rocks again. I want to bring in Marshadow because Marshadow can threaten pretty much any Pokemon my opponent sends out. Marshadow is such a hard-hitting Pokemon, it's really good. We're going to see that Zygarde come back out here. I'm going to just go ahead and close combat. That would have done a lot of damage to the Arceus, and it's going to do a lot of damage to the Zygarde. Unfortunately, though, it's not going to be enough to, completely take it out or anything, and it's going to be enough to activate its Power Construct. So we're going to see this thing become a huge threat right now, and there's not much I can do about that. This thing is right here. It is a huge threat to my entire team. If you don't know, Complete Zygarde is a beast. So I'm going to have to switch out. Close combat's not going to be enough to take it out, and this thing's going to just completely devastate Marshadow if I stay in. I'm going to go into Yveltal here. Really, I don't have a 100% good switch in here, but I feel like Yveltal might be the best. I was wanting to get a taunt because a lot of the times these things run Dragon Dance. They also run Substitute as well. Unfortunately, with that paralysis, there's no way I'm going to outspeed it, so that's actually pretty bad. We're going to see Xerneas come back out, though. Right here, of course, it's got that Fairy Aura. We're going to be paralyzed, so I was actually going to go for a taunt there, but honestly, it wouldn't have mattered anyway if my opponent had Substitute or anything. But we're fully paralyzed, so it doesn't matter. I'm going to go into Groudon. Groudon's really my best option against the Xerneas. I don't really have anything else that wants to come in on this thing. And we're going to see the Moonblast. I'm hoping Groudon can sponge that hit pretty well. And we're going to, take that pretty well. Unfortunately, that Toxic Poison is going to hurt us in the long run, and there's not much I can do about that. We're going to see another Moonblast out onto the Groudon, bringing it down to where the Toxic Poison will take us out. Here, I made a decision. I decided Stealth Rocks might actually be more helpful, for putting damage on things that switch in. So that's why, right there, I decided to go for those Stealth Rocks. I could have went Precipice Blades, but I was sure that this thing would be able to live it. and I'd much rather have those rocks up just for chip damage when things switch in. Here I'm going to go into Marshadow, and if you don't know, I actually have Poison Jab on this Marshadow just for fairy types, as my opponent's going to probably predict that and go into Planter Pot, which is going to be the Venusaur. Of course, I'm just going to go Poison Jab. It's really my best option against the Xerneas, and it's going to do some decent damage on this thing too, especially with that crit. However, I don't want to go, try it again based off a crit. I want to switch into my Yveltal here, and yeah, we're going to take some pointed stone damage right there, some stealth rocks. We're going to see this thing Mega Evolve. So we have Mega Venusaur running around in Uber tier. I mean, I do have an OU Pokemon on my team as well, Mega Pinsir, and I'm hoping Mega Pinsir can actually do some work if I can, chip away enough at some of these Mons. We're going to see this thing go for a Synthesis here, which, of course, there's not much I could do about that. Poison Jab probably wouldn't have taken it out, and I didn't want to risk it because I think Marshadow is actually pretty important to keep alive. We're going to see the Arceus make another appearance right here. I'm going to go ahead and Oblivion Wing. That would have done some decent damage on that Venusaur, and I'm hoping it does decent damage on this Arceus. And it actually does do decent damage. So the good thing is it's at a point where it can't go for a substitute. However, it can go for a recover, and I mean, I can't do anything about that because it's just going to recover all that health back. I'm going to Dark Pulse, basically hoping to do enough damage where it's not going to be able to get a substitute. However, after that, it's still going to have some decent health. It can just recover pretty easily. It's going to actually just finish off my Yveltal here with an Ice Beam. So now I'm going to go into Pinsir. Pinsir can easily quick attack this thing and get rid of it. And I'm hoping that Mega Pinsir could, turn the tides here, because right now things are not going in my favor. We're going to see the Zygarde make another appearance here. Zygarde's pretty threatening, like I've already said. I need to take this thing out. I'm going to go ahead, Mega Evolve my Pinsir here, get that flying typing, get the Aerialate. Okay, of course, I'm going to actually return instead of Quick Attack. I did predict that there was going to be a switch, however, the return barely does anything to the Zygarde. This thing is a bulky monster. I'm going to Swords Dance. I'm hoping whatever it goes for, I can take one. That's really all that I can hope for. As my opponent just goes for a Dragon Tail, so Swords Dance didn't even matter. And once Pinsir comes back in, it's going to have a very hard time surviving anything. My Rayquaza ends up getting drug out here on the field. So yeah, this is actually my Z move user here. It's got the Flyinium Z and it's powered up by the Dragon Ascent, which is actually a really, really good move. I really like that move. Right here, my opponent's going to go ahead and send in the Arceus to sack it off. Unfortunately, I did go ahead and pop my Z move. I was really wanting to get rid of that Zygarde, but my opponent played very nicely there, sent out the Arceus to sack it off, and unfortunately, we're going to waste this Z move. We could have easily went for something else, even Extreme Speed, and that would have taken out the Arceus. But unfortunately, we're going to pop our Z move right here, and we really needed that extra power, the extra oomph for something else. More than likely that Zygarde. However, my opponent still has this thing here, the Yveltal, and my opponent also has that Necrozma, which is in the back, which, if you don't know, Necrozma is a huge threat as well, especially if it can go into the Ultra form. It's a huge threat. We're going to get hit with a knockoff. That actually does a lot of damage right there. I'm going to Dragon Dance, actually, hoping that I can live whatever the Yveltal goes for, and I do, but barely, so I can't switch out or anything. I'm going to Extreme Speed. I know a lot of times Yveltals have Sucker Punch, and Extreme Speed will bypass Sucker Punch. However, it's not going to be enough to take out the Yveltal, and we're going to be taken out with an Oblivion Wing. So unfortunately, Rayquaza didn't even really do that much. Of course, it didn't even take out Yveltal with its own life orb damage, and that was really sad. I'm going to go into Arceus. I do have Extreme Speed on this Arceus. I also have Substitute, basically the set that I was predicting my opponent would have. My opponent goes ahead, goes for the knockoff there. I'm going to go ahead and go for Substitute, mainly because my opponent can easily take itself out with that life orb, and we live with just enough for that substitute. So now, once we lose the sub, it's gone, and we only have 1 HP. I need Arceus to take advantage of surviving that knockoff. That's what I really need it to do right here. We're going to get hit with a Grass Knot. We're going to lose our substitute here. We do have 1 Swords Dance, so I'm hoping that Swords Dance is enough to break through some of these bulkier mons my opponent has. We're going to Extreme Speed, and we're not going to be able to take out the Venusaur. This thing is going to survive that, and it actually just goes for a Synthesis to get health back onto it. And that's actually really bad for me because, yeah, I can't break through this thing. And, of course, I'm just going to go for another one for chip damage at this point because I can't go for another Swords Dance. So, yeah, we're going to lose Arceus right there. I mean, Arceus didn't really do its job or anything, but we tried. But we do have Pinsir, and really, I'm hoping Pinsir can pull through. We actually live with 1 HP on the Pinsir too, so that's actually pretty nice. Here, I just go for an Earthquake. I feel like that's the middle-of-the-road play, and it ends up taking out the Venusaur anyway. If my opponent brought in that Necrozma, the Duskmane Necrozma, it would have done okay damage there too. However, we've already seen how well Zygarde takes hits from this, and there's no way we're going to break through it. So I'm just going to hit Return. I really, at this point, I think what we need is chip damage now for the Marshadow. So now, it's really up to Marshadow. If Marshadow can come in, clear away some of these threats, I still have a chance. However, if Marshadow comes in and is unable to do that, it's basically the game. So it's up to Marshadow. And this thing's actually Choice Banded, so it actually can do a lot of damage. So I'm just going to go Spectral Thief. That's what I'm going to lock myself into. We're going to get some good damage. I'm hoping we can outspeed everything else on my opponent's team. And my opponent still has this Necrozma here. So what I'm hoping is that this thing is actually not going to go into its Ultra form, because if it's Ultra Necrozma, I'm pretty sure it outspeeds us. However, it is going to be Ultra Necrozma, and that's actually really bad. What I probably should have done was lock myself into Shadow Sneak. I think that would have been better because we would have actually been able to hit this thing very hard. Unfortunately, though, we're going to be outsped by it, and we're going to go down to a Photon Geyser. So good game, Mo. Unfortunately, we weren't able to come in there at the end, but we did pretty good right there, and hopefully next time we will win a battle against you. If you like this, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and I will see you in the next Pokemon video.